Welcome to BunniPhish Crafts. I'm your host Heather, known as BunniPhish on Ravelry, Instagram, YouTube, and Patreon. Today is Sunday, the 29th of March, 2020, and this is episode 12. How are you doing this week? Oh, thank you so much for your kind words last week when I was feeling super anxious. I am feeling much less anxious right now, probably because it's another week of this new normal. And also because I was starting my period last week. Anxiety plus pandemic plus period hormones equals super hot mess. But I'm feeling much better now. A lot less anxious. Still, anxiety is still there because what we're going through right now is, it's a lot. But I'm doing okay. I hope you are also doing okay. If you're doing great, that's amazing. But, okay is a fine thing to strive for right now. So, administrative stuff, kind of, is that last week we did the Keep Calm and Shine Bright Knit Along, and this was the pattern for it. It's for a yarn hug. If you did not get a chance to join and participate day by day, the pattern is now up on Ravelry. You can download it there. It is a purchase pattern, but there's tiered pricing on the pattern. So yeah, go ahead and head over there if you like it. It's for a 100-gram cake of yarn. Currently, the cake in here weighs only 60 grams, so it's not as full as it could be. It has quite a lot of stretch, but you can see that would also work for a smaller cake of yarn, like 60 grams. I don't have any other administrative stuff in there, but I have a question. Would you guys be interested? I'm already doing vlogging and putting it up every few days when I have between 10 and 15 minutes of footage. But I'm kind of thinking of doing I'm thinking of doing a tutorial series for 9-inch circulars because I've heard a lot of other podcasters say that people have questions about using them, and that's what I predominantly use for socks. So I would do toe up, cuff down, and different heels on 9-inch circulars. Would you be interested in that? And also, I think I'm going to do a few videos that are like some sort of craft with me where I take you through the whole process without a lot of talking. A little bit of talking, but not much, and just mostly doing the thing with music in the background. Thinking of doing that. What do you guys think? Yes? No? So finished objects, I have, other than the yarn hug, I have a couple things finished. I finished the sock, which I was very close last week. I had just a little bit before the heel on this sock. So now these socks are both finished. They are made out of Regia 6-ply. They're an Arne and Carlos color. Look at my cat being all majestic right there. Oh, she's perfect. Color number 03658. And I used up nearly this entire ball of yarn. I just had a little bit left, and then I put that little bit into 2 different mitered square blankets, and now I have just this tiny bit, and I'm going to put this in my corner to corner blanket. I just haven't gotten there yet because today is Sunday and it's Scrappy Sunday, and I do intend to work on some scrappy projects. And then I also finished, can we count this as finished? It will be finished later today. I have to just put these ends inside and sew on a button. And I thought that I didn't have a button that I liked for this hat, so this hat is tri-tine. Let's start there. Oh my goodness. So here's tri-tine, and it's a slouchy hat. Where is the, yeah. So it's a slouchy hat, and this button thing, for me, I like it on this side because it will come over, I'll have a button, and I'm going to use this beautiful ceramic button that I got um, from the yarn truck 716 knit at ZK last year. I just think it'll look super cute on this hat. I have two of them, but I don't feel that I need to save them for the same project because I don't do button projects very often. And worst case scenario, if I make something later that I want to have both buttons, I can just take it off this hat and use something else. The yarn that I used is linked on my project page. Northern Bee Studios, maybe? I think that's right. The colorway is definitely Northwoods. It's a yak blend, and it is just so beautiful. I think the pattern and the yarn together is just so perfect. So yeah, this is where I was last week. I had just a little bit to go before decreases. Decreases took not very much time at all. So that's, you know, 2 projects finished. I'm going to use the rest of this yarn to make a pair of crusting mitts. That's going to be one of my projects coming up this next month. And that way I can just have a pair of mitts and a hat. The only thing that would make that more perfect would be if I had a matching cowl out of it, but I don't have that much yarn left over. It was only a 100-gram skein. It is what it is. The longer that I wait in the day to record, the more rambunctious my house gets. Right now my kids are fine. They're playing computer things, but you know, and I just fed them breakfast, so they should not need me for a bit. But then they'll start asking questions and wanting to do things. They're being really, really good on this whole lockdown situation. So I know things are different in different parts of the country and in the world. In Michigan, we're in a, what's it called? Shelter in place act, which means you can't go anywhere except the grocery store to pick up food. Like there's still some restaurants that are operating on a takeout only, and to seek medical attention. So they're being really, really good about not being too stir crazy or cranky. I have had to explain to Mara a few times about why we can't go to the library for things, but I think she gets it now. Gabriel, though, I know Gabriel is having a little bit of a rough time because I gave him the chore a couple days ago to go and pick up the yard, the dog poop, the garbage, that sort of thing, because it rained all day yesterday and it's supposed to be rainy today too. So I knew that if it didn't happen 2 days ago, it wasn't happening for several more days. And he was like, "Oh yes, I can be outside." I was like, that can be your chore every day. Someone has to do it. It can be you. And he was like, "Okay, I'm in." I don't know how long that'll last, but whatever. And do I know that you can pick up dog poop in the rain? Yes. But Michigan spring rains are like deluges for hours straight. And I don't want to have to do laundry just because the dog went outside and pooped. Like, do laundry because the clothes are just too wet and gross to wear anymore. Anyway, what else? Works in progress. Are we there now? I think so. So works in progress, I am currently working on my trough because I'm going to be focusing heavily on this the next several days. Not even several, today's the 29th. There's 31 days in March. I want this finished before the end of March so that I can count it for the ZK Knit Along bonus for March. So I have to finish it in March if I'm going to do that. This pattern is Trough. It is by me. It is being knit out of, sorry, I was at a part with stitch markers where I was doing increases. It's not a good place to stop. A few stitches after that is a fine place to stop though. So the yarn that I'm using is Leading Men Fiber Arts in, let's see if I have the tag because I don't remember. Nope. I need to clean out the tags in this bag. Apparently I haven't been doing that. Here we go. Leading Men Fiber Arts, colorway Orchard Slope, the Showstopper base. The speckly yarn that I'm using is Queen City yarn in the On the Dock colorway. And I have this much left. I don't know how much that is weight-wise. It started out as 50 grams. I'm pretty sure that's not enough to take me through the rest of this poncho because I am on section 6. I'm on section 6, and there are 12-ish sections, more than 10. I don't exactly remember. It doesn't really matter. But I'm just probably going to have to use one of the other Queen City yarn colorways further down, which I'm fine with. I anticipated that being a thing that would need to happen, so not a problem. I'm using whatever needles it was that were recommended in the pattern. I want to say probably a size 3, but I could be making that up. And yeah, it's just, it's a really simple pattern, simple to make. It's all knitting. There is no purling, even though there's garter stitch sections. Those are all short rows. Look at how cute she is. Oh, my little kitten. She's so cute, right? Right there. Right there. She's so cute. Molly is currently cuddled up in bed on Patrick's feet. So she probably won't co-host today because she won't get up until he gets up because he gets her breakfast. And if she gets up before then she is whiny because she doesn't have breakfast. Totally legitimate. I'm whiny if I don't have breakfast. We had oatmeal with apples in it because we have some apples that are a little bit not great for like just biting into, but are great for cooking into things anyway. So another work in progress that I have going is the Under Armour socks. So was I finished with the first sock last week? Yes, I was, but I'll show it to you again anyway. So here's the first sock, and here's the second sock, and I was at just past the toe last week. I am working down the foot, not quite to gusset increases yet. I don't think that it will be likely that this project will be finished by the end of the month, but maybe. I've had more knitting mojo this week than I did last week, although it's still been relatively low. So I could have really high knitting mojo the next couple days. It's possible that I could get that project done also. Part of the reason why that's not done though is that I started another project. Natalie over at Knitty Natty, that's her channel name, started a helical knit along, and I had mentioned that I wanted to make charity hats this year anyway, so I decided to make some hats for the Hat Not Hate. And one of the stipulations of that project is that the hat be mostly blue. So I don't know if you can see that this color right here, so there's 3 yarns that I'm holding together. I'm helical knitting 3 yarns. So I have a dark blue, and then I have a strand of white because I have so much white acrylic, white and cream acrylic in my stash of what people have given me. And I know from experience that the kids at school are not interested in cream and white colored yarn. They want fun colors, different colors. So I wanted to use that up, but I wanted to stay true to the blue in the hat. So I also have this textured acrylic yarn, and it's a super light blue. I don't know if you'll be able to tell the difference between the white and the light blue. I think you can. So I decided to stripe those together. So there's some textured yarn in there, and this hat is in the decreases, which is why it looks so bizarre with the two needles. I am doing like a 2 circular method. When I knit it, I started it on just one of these 16-inch circulars, but now I'm doing the decreases. And what was I saying? My nephew needed something. I started this on the 16-inch circular, and then I decided when I got to the decreases that I would use 2 of them so that I wasn't trying to like use a traveling loop or something on a 16-inch circular. It just gets fiddly. Can you do it? Yes. Is it my favorite thing to do? No. So I have it on 2 circs, and I'm in the middle of a needle right now because I finished the yarn that I was working for the helical knit and then just put it down. It's fine. So yeah, it's a lot of, it's just acrylic yarns. It is, I'm using kind of the turn a square pattern-ish as a basis. It'll be a little bit slouchy in the back. Obviously I will wash it before I send it out because I would do that anyway, but especially with a pandemic, you know, I'm not sick, but just in case. So other works in progress, I have the first star sock finished, and I'm actually going to show you the pattern because it is the same pattern basically as the Keep Calm and Shine Bright yarn cozy. So here it is. Here's the sock, and it has a double wide panel down the leg, and then that splits to work down the heel and then down the foot. I am super, super pleased with this pattern, with this sock. This is the second version of this sock. The first version is not in the bag. The first version must still be down on my bed, so I will show you that later. No, you know what? I'll insert pictures of the first socks. So these are the second ones. Aren't they super cool? So I used, these socks are not for me. They're for a friend of mine who has much bigger feet than me. And I had a 15 gram mini skein of this green color, the secondary color. And I only have 6 grams left. So clearly 15 divided by 2 is not 6. So I'm going to use a different yarn for the secondary color in the second sock, which hopefully will be okay for that person. I'm still going to use the Leading Men Fiber Arts for this contrast color in the color work. Oh my gosh, I cannot get over this pattern. I'm obsessed with it. I love it. And then this yarn right here is 716 knit in the Tarhi, 716 Tarhi in the Slayer Pride Parade version 2.0. So yeah, that's the sock, and it's Kitchenered, but I have to weave in that end. And I could have just done it last night, but I didn't want to. So I'm gonna do that today and probably weave in the other end since the needle is still in the sock so that I can be finished with that sock. And I'll cast on the other one, probably not today. Oh my goodness, do you see? I know the lighting has been going very, very bizarre this recording because it's supposed to rain. And it looks like it's gonna start anytime now. So I'm sorry that the video has gone really grainy. So yeah, that second sock, I will probably wait to cast on until after I finish Trough because I'm using Leading Men Fiber Arts, the same yarn for both of those. So now that I have this done, I'm gonna go to town on Trough, try to get that finished. Other things I have been working on. I finished one of the Afghan squares, and I did not write down the name. Hold on just a second. This is Dilly Dahlia by Margaret McInnes, and this is the right side. So here is the square. I used a Bernat Pop, which is a cake of yarn, to make this because I thought the colors in the cake would look would be a nice pop of color for my living room. And all of these colors were in that cake, which did lead me to having to do just a tiny, tiny bit of yarn management, but not terrible. And when I had to manage the yarn, because this purple color, when I got to this last border, I needed to get through a purple color, but I was done with the purple, the bluey purple periwinkle color in this square. So I started another square for the chain reaction Afghan, and this is the Zigzag by Judith Bailey. So yeah, that's that. And I will probably use more of this pop for this square. I think that I'm going to use, I have two of these Bernat pops in this colorway. I think I'm going to use both of them for the chain reaction Afghan, and then continue to use grays and white and other blues and greens in the Afghan. I want it to look sampler-ish, but I don't want it to be like all of the colors. So I think that's my plan for that. And I also worked on the leg warmers, the crusting inspired leg warmers. So last week I was here and I worked down the rest of the leg warmer, and I love that texture so much. It's modified from crusting. It's not the exact same stitch pattern. Crusting is 2x2 rib. This is 1x1 rib, and cast on just barely the second one. This is not a priority to finish this month. I would like for all of these projects to be finished in the next 2 days, but that's not realistic. So, you know, this one can go to the wayside. I don't need it until Christmas time, which is why I started it now. And at the rate that I'm working, I've been doing about 1 leg warmer a month, and I have to make 6 leg warmers total. So by June, I should be finished with all of those leg warmers. So on to reading. I did not read as much this week as I did last week. I finished Frankenstein, and this is what I was, this is what I was mainly reading. And while I did enjoy what the author did for the story, I didn't love reading the story. You know what? I forgot a work in progress. I worked on Karen's spinning. Not very much. Anyway. It was okay. There were some really funny parts, and I appreciated the discussions about being transgender, and sometimes I appreciated what they were talking about technology. Overall, not my favorite book. However, not a bad book. Not a book that I would be like, bah, don't read this. Just, you know, not my favorite. And then I started just barely. I finished Frankenstein yesterday. So I started just barely Journal Me Organized, which is a reference book about planning and journaling, and it's got different ideas for layouts and you know, different ideas for stuff. I don't know, stuff. Different ideas for lists that you can make. There are some like art journaling techniques that it talks about. So I haven't read very much. You can see where my bookmark is. And it's not something that I'm just going to sit down and read through, although yesterday this was the book that I read during family reading time. But it's not likely to be that. Oh my gosh, so something fun that we started doing, which was actually an idea of from my friend Fiona, was because school is closed, possibly for the rest of the school year. That is not an official announcement, but there are rumors that Michigan schools will be closed through the rest of the school year, which I don't love the sound of from a um, mom point of view, like a stir crazy mom point of view, but from a safety point of view, I get where they're coming from. I kind of wish that they would do it by like a every 2 weeks, make the decision instead of just saying right now we're cutting it off. But I can understand both sides. Anyway, Fiona suggested when I asked right at the beginning of the whole shift, the corona shift, what people would do if they were looking at having their kids home for 3 weeks. Well, now it's officially 4 for sure. It's definitely going to be 4. It might be until August. Anyway, she suggested giving each kid a notebook and having them fill it however. So yes, that's kind of what we're doing. I gave them each a notebook. They're not allowed to take pages out because otherwise Maro would go through the whole notebook in one day. And every day we were just gonna sit and write or sketch or something for 10 minutes. There has to be words on the page every day, but yesterday Gabriel made a comic. So that's a thing that we're doing. And they're both enjoying reading. Oh, another thing that we started this week. I do have another book to talk about, by the way, in case you think I'm just going off on a tangent, which I am. We started playing Habitica together. So I started playing Habitica forever ago. Josh and I used to play together. Our friend Lisa played. And what it is it is a site or an app that you can have. There's 3 different categories of tasks. So there are habits, so things you either want to do or don't want to do. And every time you do the habit, you click either the plus or the minus, depending. And then there are dailies, so things you want to accomplish daily. For my children, that is, they have daily homework things, so they have to get a green light on something called reflex math. They have to read for 30 minutes. They both have to do an IXL lesson, which is lessons in math or ELA, and they have to fill out the weather for the day as part of their assignment. So those are things that they have to do every day. And then they each, get to pick if they want to have another daily. And then tasks for every day. So, or for long-term tasks, like my son has a couple assignments that they're called TDAs, which is text directed analysis, I think. So you read a passage and then you have to write a 5-paragraph essay. They just started doing 5-paragraph essays like a month before Corona. So I don't make him do the whole thing in one go. So we list out, there have to be 5 paragraphs, he has to edit. So those are each a task to do under like a check mark under the whole task of whatever that TDA is called. And so we do it over a couple days, and that's really working. So yeah, it's just a lot of fun. And as we're all in a party together, the 3 of us, and as a member of a party, you can do quests. So we are questing together, which is a lot of fun. The kids have fun. We've only been doing it for a few days, but they're really excited about leveling up and beating the boss and stuff. So we've been really enjoying that. I have the most tasks, so I do the most damage, but whatever, it's fine. I have also been reading, just barely started this. This is called Voices by David Elliott. It's the final hours of Joan of Arc. It is really short. I started it this morning and I've read, I don't know, probably 10 pages, but you can see that like there's not a lot of writing per page sometimes. It's written in verse. There are excerpts from her actual trial in here. So that's really interesting. And I will likely finish it by tonight. Can't imagine that it'll go more than a day unless I just don't read it again. Yeah, but like this is, can you see that? That's almost nothing on the page. So I think it's 185 pages or so, and it should be finished today. And then I will start something else. I'm starting to get a little anxious because my library stack is small, but I do have books that I can read. I think what I might do is I might pick up my copy of The Once and Future King and finish that. And then I kind of want to start rereading a series, but the problem is the two series that I have, I don't have the first book for either one because I loaned them out to people and the people did not give them back. So I might download them to like Kindle or something, or I don't know, see some other way of getting them, or I might just read a whole bunch of standalone books that I have on my shelf. I don't know. I don't know where my reading is going to go. I'm trying to make sure that I'm still reading because I know that reading, when I'm taking in the words in the book, my brain isn't going like it always is. So reading is a really important part of my day. But I don't know. I don't know what I want to read next. I still have a few paper books. And I have one or two playaways, but then I have 5 audiobooks if I count the one in my car that I could listen to, but it's really hard to listen to an audiobook when you don't have like a space that you can kick everybody out of. Because I want to listen to the book and I don't want to have conversations while I'm listening to the book and stuff. Yes, it's fine. It's fine. I will listen to those or not. Okay, I think that's all I have for this week. I hope that you, wherever you are doing well. If you are with people, I hope they are not driving you up the walls. I hope that if you are isolated by yourself, you have been taking advantage of all of the podcasts that people are putting out extra. If you have a favorite artist, musical artist, or even just art artist, see if they have a feed or on Instagram or YouTube or Facebook. A lot of my favorite artists have been doing like studio vlogs, or musical artists are, for instance, 3 of the members of Linkin Park did a reaction video to a concert that they put on in 2001, and that was a lot of fun to watch. So reach out in that way. If you need someone to chat with, send me a message. I'm not so fast on Ravelry messages, but I try to check in on YouTube at least once a day, and Instagram is instant if you need someone to talk to you about something. But yeah, reach out if you're by yourself, or even if you're not by yourself, but the people you're with are not not giving you the type of interaction you need. Totally get that. I took part in a Zoom a few nights ago, and that was lovely. Some friends of mine and a new friend that I didn't know before that. And then I think I'm going to join one today. So I'm trying to, take part in those sorts of things. And I know a lot of people have been doing live videos on YouTube so they can chat with the people. Like you can type in on the chat to the host and they can respond. So reach out. We're all in this together. How bizarre is that? That the whole world is in something together. It's been a little while since that has happened. Um, yeah, I hope you're making it. I'm doing my best. So I will see you in about a week. Bye.